resources. I'm Lisa, and I work in the Relocation and Sponsorship Program. Today we're going to be making a French toast casserole bake, which is a fun recipe for me because one of the ways that I show love is to my friends. So we host brunches, get-togethers, and this is one of the recipes that is our go-to. As military spouses, sometimes it can be hard to make friends, and this is just a great dish to get a group of people together eating and happy. So let's get started. The first thing you're gonna need is a loaf of sourdough bread. You can really use any bread you want. I prefer sourdough, but you can use French bread, a brioche bread if you wanna be fancy. And what you're gonna do is just cube it into small pieces. I have about 3/4 of it done, so I cube them into pieces about this big. And you don't need to cut it either. You can rip it apart, throw it in the pan, whatever works for you. All right, so once you're finished cubing up your bread, you just have it in a pan here. You can spray the pan to make it easier to serve. You just use normal cooking spray. So you have your pan full of the cubed bread. Then you're gonna start with your custardy filling that you're gonna just pour directly over the bread. So for that, you're gonna take 5 eggs and crack them into a bowl. And add 1½ cups of milk and 1/4 cup of just regular sugar. To that you're gonna add about 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, not a big measurer, so I just kind of throw some in there, and of salt. And then you're gonna go ahead and mix that. All right, so our custard mixture is nice and mixed. Might have some little chunks of cinnamon in there, that's okay. And we're going to pour this all over our cubed bread. Nothing scientific about it, just drizzle. If you don't have a pour spout on your bowl, I would recommend maybe pouring it into a big measuring cup. Now you have an option here. You can continue and bake this as is, or you can put it in the fridge overnight, allow it to soak up that egg mixture a little bit more, and it'll get a little bit deeper into the bread. But you can make it both ways. If you're making it as is, I recommend at least letting it sit for a little bit to soak up. But we can let it sit while we make our topping. So you're just gonna take about 5 tablespoons of regular butter and melt it in a bowl. Add 1/4 cup of packed dark brown sugar. You can use light brown sugar. I used coconut sugar, but a brown sugar, and mix it with that melted butter. And then add a teaspoon of cinnamon. So I'm gonna do that real quick. All right, so we have our melted butter, our brown sugar, our cinnamon. I'm also gonna add just a pinch of salt to this topping. And we will stir it up. So if you're letting your casserole sit overnight, I would recommend holding off on the topping and making it when you're ready to put it in the oven. But since we're gonna put this in the oven right about now, we'll go ahead and pour it over. And you can just drizzle it. Perfect. And that's it. So this is ready to go into the oven. You are going to preheat the oven to 375 degrees and put it in for about 40 minutes, usually between 35 and 45. I settle around 40. So we have our oven preheated at 375, so we're gonna go ahead and stick this in there. So while that bakes, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about our relocation program. Fleet and Family provides assistance when you are getting ready to PCS, or maybe you're just arriving and need a little bit of guidance about what's in the area. If you ever have questions about getting ready to move, what the process is, what you need to do, what the different options are for you, please feel free to reach out to us. I'm always here for one-on-one appointments to really talk about your specific needs. And I also do hold classes just to go through the move process and the PCS process, what that looks like. So if you ever see in our newsletter that we have a PCS to Impress class or a smooth move class, that's what that's about. We want to talk a little bit about the process, what it takes to move from this installation to another one, and make sure you're feeling ready. I know that PCS can be super stressful. It can feel like there's so much to do. So we just like to make that process a little easier for you by going over it step by step and helping you get the resources that you need. So whenever you are in doubt about a move or you have orders coming up, Reaching out to fleeting family is a great option to get you started. Part of the relocation program is also our sponsorship program. So if you are a service member and you want to sponsor incoming service members into your command, I run that program as well. So I do hold sponsorship training about twice a month. We post that schedule on our Facebook page and in our newsletter. So feel free to reach out to register for one of those classes. All right, so it's been about 40 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and take our casserole out of the oven. Here we have a completely baked. It's crunchy on the top. It's gonna be soft on the bottom. This is what it's going to look like. So many serving options here. You can sprinkle it with blueberries. You can sprinkle it with powdered sugar. Drizzle a little maple syrup on top. I love maple syrup and powdered sugar, but it is quite sweet to begin with, so you don't need to add very much. So we'll scoop a little onto our plate here. I'll show you my awesome special plate. If you've never heard of it, our family has a special plate. So when one of our kids or adults has a special day, they get to use this special plate. So today I offer you my